Good evening. I talk with my hands, so we'll see how all this mic thing goes. So really happy to be here tonight. Thank you so much for having me. And honestly, I appreciate Jay for setting me up because the first thing I jump into is that it's not looking great for humans when we think about how far we're coming with AI, right? I mean, literally, we didn't even plan this, right? We didn't even see each other's content before we submitted it. So this worked out really well. So honestly, I subscribe to Elon Musk's particular brand of crazy. I really do. I appreciate it. Mostly because he builds for what he can't even see. He builds for what he didn't even know he was dreaming, and then he builds his companies accordingly, and they start to act that way. So when I thought about what I wanted to talk about here tonight, a lot of it came down to the resilience that's required for all these organizations to make sure that we're preparing each other for what comes next. So I want to put together some practical applications. Let's talk about Industrial 4.0. Right, so we're now in a new industrial area. We started with steam, we went to electrical, added IT systems, right, and now we're into AI and cloud and edge and all these different things, right? So now that we're in this new industry, what does it mean? Do we really care what's going on here, or is it really more about how quickly things are changing? Which is another point you just brought up, right? So Capgemini, we did a little study because we're trying to figure out what does it actually look like, right? So the rate of change that's happening, this is 2017, but the rate of change compared to now versus 1990 is massive. It's happening way too quickly that companies cannot keep up. Keeps me employed, which I appreciate, but, right, I'm trying to put myself out of a job, right? I'm not really interested in continuing to do this. Let's figure out how to build this within an organization so we don't have to worry about it. So, what do we do? So, everybody knows when we start to implement, we're trying to implement new ideas. We start with pretty basic things, right? We're emerging with an idea, okay, we're thinking about it, what comes next? And then we go to experiment, right? In the medical field, we start doing trials for technology, we do proof of concepts. Is this going to work? Where is it going to work? How is it going to work? And now we want to scale. Now that sounds really good, but for the people that you have to bring along with you, it looks a little bit different. We start with our baby steps, right? Okay, they have an idea. What does that mean? How do we get through it? Then we go into walking. All right, now that we have the idea, I'm a part of this group, or I'm practicing, we're doing all this stuff. Okay, it sounds good. All right, so we crawl, we walk. What normally comes next? Run. So that's what normally comes next. I'm all for running, except for I think it's a bit different now. We just talked about how quick things are moving. I think we're past running. I think we're into jumping. I really do. I think we're into jumping, and I think people are missing this because they think that, all right, let's just keep doing the same things we're doing before. Let's just do it quicker. It doesn't work that way. We have to change the way people are thinking. Now, to be fair, everything's different. People jump. Some people have great form. Fantastic technique, and they know how to do it, right? They're very comfortable in being able to do this. That's great, but that's not everybody. Then you have those, I look like that, right? You have those who fall, really, it's not really jumping, I'll call it falling, right? Sometimes they're pushed, but they're really trying to figure out what's underneath them. Then you have those that are more measured, right? Those are the ones that kind of just look over the edge, like, oh, what's down there? Did you test it? What does it feel like? Is it cushy enough? I don't trust you. Let's have the 5-minute feedback conversation to make sure I know what's going on. That's what they're looking for. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to how do we think about this from an integrated approach. I think one of the things that we're not doing as well as we could be is thinking about and solving for the risk aversion that people feel. That's really what's missing. We talk about, okay, let's implement a new idea. Let's put on this great AI, this new technology that's great. We're going to come up with change champions and roadmap, and super users are going to do this. We're going to lay the path, and we're going to drag everybody, whether they like it or not, right down this roadmap. That's all fine and good, but we haven't addressed the real problem, which is risk aversion. Most people are not brought up, right, to have that comfort in jumping, but that's not where we are right now. I'm going to use myself as an example, right? So my husband and I got married June 2012. Come September, we were moving to Australia, sight unseen. Never been there before in my life, right? Took a job, we said, let's just go. We're a couple months into this marriage thing, we got it. We go over there, we know nobody, right? My mentor hired me over there, so I know him. I know him and his partner, and that's really about it. We stayed there for 4 years, came back, baby in tow, excellent, right? Moved to Houston, because it turns out I was pregnant with twins, excellent, so let's go where family is. So I do that, right? We get settled, and all of a sudden, my husband gets an awesome opportunity to move to Tampa, right, for a private equity firm, right? So in the span of about 2 years, right, we decided to come back to the U.S., give birth to twins, right, start a new job, and now we're going to move to Tampa, right? Like I said, I subscribe to Elon Musk's particular brand of crazy. I really do. Now, all that is because I have a very healthy relationship with risk. I really do. right? And sometimes a little bit it borderlines, right? So healthy is an interesting statement, but it's something that I allow myself to jump into. So I'm like, I'm okay. I've prepared myself. I've upskilled. I've talked to the people. I've built my environment. So I'm willing to jump over here and see what happens. Not everybody's like that. And because we're not solving for that in our environments and in our organizations, we're struggling to get them to come along the way, right? So what are we trying to avoid? Right? We're all familiar. I'm looking around the room. Everybody should be familiar with what Friday nights used to look like. Walking into the store, checking out the new releases, being pretty upset when you go in that box and there's nothing back there. Gotta go, gotta see if somebody returned it, right? We all remember that, right? So in addition to building, when you're thinking about this building and you're addressing the risks, you also have to think about people's realities. Everybody has different realities, and sometimes it determines how they approach a problem. So when Blockbuster, and I have on good authority that they saw and knew what Netflix were doing, they had Netflix come in, right, and talk to them about what they were selling, right? But their realities were off. The leadership sat there and said, oh no, we're good. We're solid. You see, we're everywhere. We're on every street corner. Look at our revenue. Everything's fine. We don't need that. We'll figure out how to do it ourselves. Don't you worry, right? That's what they told themselves. That's what they told their teams. And they continued to go on their merry way. And it didn't really change anything until Netflix started sending DVDs to people's houses. So then Blockbuster did the same. And then Netflix started thinking, okay, maybe we can get them to them faster, right? Let's go online. All different types of things started happening, and a lot of it was because their realities were off. So when you're thinking about solving for these problems and implementing all these different tools and tricks, you really got to think about where does everybody's reality sit, and how do we make an adjustment for it? How do we help them see things differently? Like, I get that's where your reality is, but let me show you why it might be a bit off, and here's how I can help bring you with you. Right? And then talk about the risk that needs to happen within their company so you can bring your people with them too. So that those types of things don't happen to them. Final thoughts. So one of my favorite things to do, like I mentioned, I have 3 kids, so podcasting is my friend as opposed to books, because that's how I hear all my different information now. And one of the things I appreciate, and sometimes I don't think we do enough of, is really thinking about how different industries do different things that really can apply to all of our different lives. One of my favorite things is music. I love music. I love that music has the ability to translate emotions right into you just directly. I love how it's able to transport you in time. All of us have that song where you hear it on the radio and all of a sudden, you're back in college, you're back in high school, you're at your wedding. We all have that, right? It's an innate ability to be able to do that translation. So when I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, he was interviewing a production engineer behind the music, so the person who's actually driving that change into the music, being able to turn it up. And he said some things that really resonated with me, and I wanted to share them with you because it made me think about the types of change and how we need to do things going forward. So he says, I have a 1-up because I get to hear my beats first, right? So this is in relation to somebody who's a producer who makes their own beats and then is able to then produce their own songs. They get a head up because most people don't do that. Most people are given the beats. Like, here you go. Here's your roadmap. Here's what you got to do. Now write the song. Or write your lyrics. Or write your rap. That's what you're supposed to be able to do, right? But if you're doing and creating your own beats, you have a 1-up. So within these organizations, if you can create your own transformative culture, if you can figure out how to do that yourselves, you can then apply that going forward. And so that way, when you're thinking about what's coming down the pipeline, if something new comes in, you're not just reacting. You're proactively thinking about, okay, well, this is my culture, so here's what we're going to be able to do. You have a 1-up. Taking layman's terms and turning it into a technical thing. So from this one, it really was talking about, okay, so when somebody comes to you and say, I need a beat that sounds like this, that has this feeling, that's going to keep this vibe, so when people are, at a restaurant or a lounge, this is the way they feel, right? The production engineer, their job is to take that and say, okay, right, go into the studio, come back and say, here's what I think. It's no different when you're implementing a lot of this new technology, right? Like, we want to remove unconscious bias from a lot of our HR areas and the people who are doing a lot of recruiting. How do we do that? Well, we need to figure out how to implement the right tools to be able to do that. So let me figure out how to do this, and I'll give it back to you, right? It's a translation thing. So how do we keep that translation strong? As we grew and as the tools got better, we learned differently, right? And so how you produce music learned differently. And because of that, it becomes broader. You have an international impact because you're learning different tools and tricks. You're learning how different people speak and think and hear things. And so you're now able to have broad communication across the board, right? Be true to yourself. I know this sounds extremely simple, but when it comes to an organization, it is very hard, especially with how quickly things are changing. Organizations do not know how to stay within their own, right? They set a vision, and a new technology comes, like, oh, let's go over there and do that. Oh, let's go over there and do that, right? And then they lose track. And what happens is you lose people, too. Because people joined you with a certain vision, with a certain idea in mind, but then they can't keep up. Because now you're losing your way. And because of that, I can't find your brand, right? Uber struggled with this very recently, as we all saw, right? They really struggled because they couldn't stay true to their culture. Because I don't think that they actually had one. I think they were struggling to do that in the beginning, right? But because of that, they struggled and they just kept going. It was like a cycle that they were really trying to stop. I think they're working on it now, right? But you can fix this before you get to those problems. Last but not least, don't be so far into your ivory tower that you don't understand the power of fun. Now, this quote goes on, but really the most important part is sometimes you're not speaking the right language. It's not that the people you're talking to don't understand, it's that you're just speaking to them differently, right? They have a different mindset. They're coming from a different starting point, right? So you got to figure out, okay, so do I need to give them the skills so they can hear it differently? Right? Or do I need to tell it to them differently, right? The example that he used, I thought it was hysterical, right? So you're in a lounge or in a bar, and they're playing all these different remixes. You just want to hear the song, right? And they keep replaying and keep mixing it up and scratching, like, oh, right? Just stop, right? But he was like, but I'm a technical engineer. This is what I do. I learn and listen to the different keys and how I can connect them, and it's really fun, and it's great. But to the person who's in the audience, just want to hear the song. Sometimes the people who are working with you within these organizations just want to hear the song. They want to understand at the end of the day what you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to help them grow to get there so that you can accomplish all in one together the same goal. So I really, really enjoy thinking about this stuff because you never know where you're going to get, different creative ideas from, where you get inspiration from. I was listening to this just a few days ago, and I was like, this is so, it makes sense and it works. Right, so just keep in mind and think about these different ways of explaining things and attacking and really talking to some of your areas, and use these different creative ways to talk because people hear differently. Right, so I encourage you to think about that next time. Just whatever your jam is, whatever you like, just think about how that can translate into your organizations as well.